Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we are currently having some awkwardness ensue. We missed a melee attack on our Black Knight, and now the Black Knight is quite vulnerable, and we'll see how that ends up playing out. Our crossbow is going to be moving right now. I kind of want to move into this water here, and maybe go for this galleon back here. It does have a fair amount of armor, but I wouldn't mind starting to remove that, and the crossbow really needs to get into the water. So, how are we doing on our rolls here? We failed our sensor roll. That's what the problem is there. So we wouldn't really hit anything too much anyway. Let's fire on this galleon, see what we get done there. But yeah, a failed sensor roll is unfortunate. And we've been failing a lot of sensor rolls lately. No doubt about that. So they still outnumber us, currently 10-6. They're going to come in and melee attack our Shadowhawk. Okay, they managed to hit that, and this Apollo really probably should have been dead. Ooh, they get the knockdown because it's the charge, right. So the Shadowhawk gets reserved back and has to stand back up. It's not the biggest vulnerability, though, but that is a lot of damage. So I'm going to position back here in rear arc of this Cyclone. Unfortunately, we did manage to jam both of our machine guns as well. And of course, we just stood up and we failed our sensor roll. Okay, this is getting ridiculous, to be honest. I'm not surprised that this attack isn't going well because we just stood up, right? But both machine guns jamming and our sensor roll failing at that same time. Okay. Okay, RogueTech. RogueTech has decided that this one's going to be a tough one for some reason. Now, we could go after this harasser in the rear arc, and I think that's absolutely fine to do. I just don't want to go after the Apollo again here because we have few evasive pips if we do that. So I'm going to hit the harasser in the rear arc here. This is probably a kill. Indeed. There we go. So that harasser's out of here. Next up is going to be something. This was actually the Blackjack, and it just didn't fire. So we're okay with that. Phase 16 is going to be this Cyclone. Okay. Noted. We got very little damage into it previously. It's going to fire rear arc on our Blackjack. Ooh. I saw some internal damage there.
Heat sinks can't vent fast enough. Taking damage.
Where was that? Was that in the leg? That was through armor, actually. Okay. So no actual issue there for the moment, but they have 3 movers here in phase 15. So that is all up over here, including that Clint, firing front arc on the Black Knight, not getting any dangerous damage there. So that's good. Next up is going to be this Dervish and the Wyvern. The Wyvern also fires side arc on the Black Knight, getting quite a lot in there, but all on armor there. 0 from 16 hit by AMS. Okay. Yeah, RogueTech has decided our rolls are like -20 in this mission. Sure, that happens sometimes. So at this point, they're going to move this Dervish, and that moves there, firing on the Hoplite. It was good clustering, but it was clustering in the CT, not in the dangerous torso. So that works out okay. No problem there. So next up is their phase 14 mover, which is this Vulcan. The Vulcan has very little armament left. It has 1 medium laser. Let's see what it decides to do. We've softened up this Clint and this Vulcan quite a lot. It goes for the Black Knight. For now, that's fine. The Black Knight is a bit overheated, no doubt about it. But now our crossbow gets to move, and we could make our way up this way, or we could stay in the water and hit side arc on either of these. And actually, with a successful sensor roll, I think that the side arc attack on this galleon is absolutely the way to go. And we took it out. Beautiful. Things are starting to turn around for us a bit, it feels like. That's good. So that galleon is out of here. We've now eliminated a number of units. Unfortunately, they still have several more. There's still a bunch of them up here. There's still 5 units up here. Over on this side, we've eliminated a lot. The Dervish steps in and goes for that side arc of the Black Knight. For the moment, that's okay. We're going to want to start disengaging the Black
Heavy
Knight down
damage.
this way if we can, now that things are safer
Standing by.
over here. So the Apollo has decent hit odds, I think, on the Vulcan or this Clint. Now, this Clint, which is the bigger threat? We have to ask. The Vulcan only has the one laser. And the Clint, this is in its weakened side arc. So I think that the Clint is the bigger threat here. We do end up taking out the AC-5.
Scored a critical hit.
But that wasn't quite as much damage as I was hoping. It all hit the arm. I was hoping to hit the torso and then transfer into the CT. Sadly, that didn't happen. So at this point, the hoplite is absolutely going to look to target the dervish here, I think. Although we probably want to move the hoplite. Get at least some evasive and get into cover here. So positioning it about here and then dropping on the dervish. That was mediocre at best on the artillery. That hit, like, down over here. Luckily, I don't think it hit our Black Knight. But it didn't get much damage dealt there.
Awaiting orders.
So the Shadowhawk is going to get in behind this Cyclone, is the idea. Its medium pulse laser was destroyed? Or at least crit? Hang on, what happened to the medium pulse laser here? And this machine gun? Oh, right, they can't be used because we were punching. I'm dumb. Never mind, ignore me. Let's see what we get on this Cyclone. This time it's a 73.6% hit chance. And we miss it. Okay, we just can't hit melee attacks today. I gotcha.
Reporting. Negative status.
Well, that's some internal damage on that Cyclone, but it's still alive, unfortunately. If we had hit the melee attack there, it would have died, but that is like 5 or 6 melee attacks that we've missed at over 50% hit odds. I understand missing some of them, right? But it is starting to get a little ridiculous. So they're continuing to drop heat on our crossbow, and the Apollo is now in a good position for the Centaur to eliminate it, and that is indeed the exact idea. At this point, the Black Knight apparently can't move,
Ready for orders.
or we're calculating the move. There's apparently no moves available for the Black Knight. I'm not convinced that that's true.
I'm ready.
It should definitely be able to move. I guess we could simply brace it, but I feel like that's really bad. What's in the head? A standard FCS, a standard cockpit, basic sensors. We might just eject the Black Knight here if we can't move. There's nothing in that head, and I would rather not take additional damage. All we've lost here is a double heatsink, and it has soaked up a lot of damage. So I think we're just going to eject the Black Knight.
Punching out.
I don't love that choice,
Let's go.
but if we can't move, I'm not going to take a no evasive turn. So
Got my attention.
the Centaur here is going to position in rear arc of this Apollo. It's
Aye, aye.
definitely going to die this time. This is the third rear arc Centaur attack with good hit odds on this Apollo. There we go. That took longer
Battle
than
mech
anticipated. No doubt about it. But that's just due to clustering
LRMs
rolls,
are
so
out.
that's fine. The idea here is the Shadowhawk will hopefully actually eliminate the Cyclone this time. That would be nice. And then we've still got all these guys up here, right? The Clint moves in and fires on the hoplite. It doesn't get a lot done there, which is what we expected. That's why we moved the hoplite and moved it into cover. So next up is the crossbow. We're expecting that the Cyclone is dealt with here. So we can position here. We can fire on the Cyclone, but I don't think that's a great idea. We can fire on this Dervish, on this Clint, on this Vulcan, or on this Dervish. I think we soften up this Dervish here. What do we got going on here? Okay, fair enough. We're not going to fire the medium lasers. Actually, maybe we just don't fire. No, I want to soften this.
Roger.
Okay, that structure exposure on that Dervish,
Watch
that
my
is
heat
good.
levels.
That's very solid. So at this point, they have 5 units here, right? And then they have, I think, 2 units remaining on the other side. So they still outnumber us. We have 5
That
units
could've been
remaining.
worse.
They have 7. But we've definitely given better than we've gotten. If we hadn't have missed that one cicada kick with the Black Knight, though, it was only a 62% chance, but that was what really started this. Okay, so the Cyclone moves over and attacks the Centaur, getting almost nothing done there. Now, I'm pretty sure that this guy can't move because he deployed outside of the map. So there is that. The Black Knight is going to be not too bad to repair, and honestly, upgrading its cockpit and sensors is not a bad idea anyway. So the Dervish moves up here and goes for the Apollo. I love this. Please continue to fire at the Apollo. That is amazing. Okay, so phase 13 is going to be this Blackjack, but he just didn't move and didn't fire. Has he fired all of his ammo? What's going on with this Blackjack? No, he's got ammo. Okay. Well, the Dervish fires on our crossbow there. The crossbow has been taking a lot of infernal missile attacks, so its heat is very, very high. But the Apollo can absolutely position somewhere out over here. All 3 of these are softened up, or we could go for this Dervish, which I think is the right call here. I'd like to soften up this guy.
Send 4.
Okay. Decent armor softening there. And the Shadowhawk is now intended to get in behind the Cyclone and finish it off once and for all. This time it's a 67.9% hit chance. Let's see if we miss it again. We do. Okay. We just cannot hit these decent hit odds melee attacks. Luckily, it doesn't matter, and this mech is out of here.
Mech destroyed.
Beautiful. So next up is our hoplite. Now the hoplite is going to continue to move back this direction. We want to protect the right side though. So really we want to position it like here. There we go. And I want to drop our artillery on this Vulcan. Now that'll give us an overheat if we fire the ER medium laser, so we're not going to fire the ER medium laser. That's a solid artillery hit there, at long last. Okay. So the reason I fired at the Vulcan there was because it was centrally located. The AMS is now unjammed. That's good. Oh, pilot ejected up over here. Okay, beautiful. So that took out a mech. So we've got the 2 dervishes, the Vulcan, and the Wyvern, I believe this is, up over here. Cool. This guy's swaying like he's unsteady. He kind of is. Okay.
Talk to me.
So do we want to move the Centaur up here to engage these guys? Or do we want to move it down here to engage this Blackjack? Honestly, I kind of think we need the help up here. Our fire support could get overrun. So I'm going to position us here.
Roger that.
And I think we're going to look at taking out this Vulcan. Just removing it from the field.
Copy that.
That was mediocre at best.
SRMs are out.
Okay. That was a lot of AMSs there, actually. And that Wyvern moves in and attacks our Apollo, getting a few more missiles shot down there. I like it. Actually, nope, we did not actually hit any of those with our AMS. So, this Vulcan is very softened. Very, very softened. We've got the dervishes. This dervish is actually pretty softened in the CT as well. This guy backs off, fires on our crossbow. We've taken a lot of damage here.
Losing lots of armor.
But nothing particularly disturbing as of yet. We can position our hoplite here, and we could fire on this dervish with a direct fire howitzer shot. We could even fire our ER medium laser. That was a really solid hit there. I like it. So this guy is substantially softened. They're shooting at our Apollo with the Blackjack. Okay, that's fine. I do not mind that. Next up is our Apollo, and our Apollo is going to move somewhere like here.
Location confirmed.
And I think firing on this dervish is a good choice. Yes. He is substantially softened up.
All weapons on go.
We did get a gyro crit, engine heatsink crit. We destroyed his gyro, so that's all looking phenomenal. We can get our crossbow down over here and fire on this dervish as well. Heat is still a bit of a concern here, but it is getting better. Yeah, let's just eliminate this dervish if we can. This is side arc, so it's not necessarily going to kill. But it does kill. Phenomenal.
Mech destroyed.
Okay, so next up, we've got this Vulcan, which is low threat. We'll see what he ends up doing here. We've finally started to get some, not good rolls, but vaguely acceptable ones, is I guess the term that I'll go with. So this Vulcan is closing in and firing on our hoplite with its medium laser. It misses. That's completely fine. We don't mind that at all. So we know that there's this dervish out here. This wyvern is still completely fresh.
Awaiting orders.
Now, I'm thinking about sending the Shadowhawk out over here to attack this blackjack. Hit odds are not the... Actually, they're pretty decent here. Yeah, we'll close in a little closer in the next couple rounds, but start softening it. Nice. That's good armor reduction there. So next up, our Centaur is going to head up over this direction-ish. I'm thinking about here. And then finish off this Vulcan. We're out of SRM and LRM ammo. So that did happen pretty much simultaneously.
Copy that.
Noted. And actually the Vulcan ejects. Okay, beautiful. So that's perfect. Next up is that Wyvern firing on our hoplite. Luckily, no internal shots there.
Systems.
We've been getting actually lucky in this second half here. So I like it.
Yes,
That's good.
Commander.
The Apollo is going to move up over here. We could work on this blackjack, but it's quite far away. We could work on this dervish or this wyvern. Hit odds are the highest on the wyvern. Hit odds are not good overall because we failed our sensor roll. Well, so much for what I was saying about good rolls all of a sudden.
Firing all weapons.
Okay, we'll soften up what we can on that wyvern, but it's not going to be much. The blackjack firing on the Shadowhawk is deeply unsurprising. That is fully expected.
Minimal.
And the crossbow at this point is going to move up. I'd love to see the kill on this dervish. Hit odds are not the best in the world, and given what's actually damaged here, it's probably not going to end up happening. But at least we can soften up the armor on the dervish a little bit.
I'm out of LRM.
Well, you're out of that type of LRMs. There are other LRMs, so that'll be fine. Next up is going to be this dervish, and we'll see what it decides to do. It is significantly softened up. I'd love to see it move here. That's kind of close to where I wanted it to go, actually. Structure exposure on the crossbow now, but no internal damage here yet. Okay, and there's only a medium laser in this arm, so there's nothing too dangerous there. I'm going to move the hoplite out of the fire here, and I'm going to drop the howitzer. Hit odds are basically the same. I want to fire it on this wyvern. I'm not going to fire the ER medium laser, but otherwise, let's see what we've got. Nice hit there. That's going to do quite a lot of armor shred. Spreading out quite a bit, but even so, decent armor shred there. So the Shadowhawk is going to move in over here. I'm not going to sprint it this time, and we're going to continue to hit the blackjack in this weakened side arc. We should start getting through that armor very soon. Yes, there we go. We even got a head hit on the blackjack. I like it. Next up, of course, is our Centaur. Without ammo, the Centaur is going to be a little hard-pressed to do too much, but we're going to position it somewhere around here and just continue to fire those small, or rather micro lasers at this dervish in its weak arc. Okay, we just get some armor damage there, but that'll do. The Wyvern moves up and fires on our Apollo. I love this. That is a very, very good mech for them to be focusing on right now. Continuing to fire on the Shadowhawk with the lasers there, but the blackjack getting basically nothing done there.
Here.
At this point, I'm going to place the Apollo out over this direction. And we're going to fire probably on the dervish here. Hit odds are highest on the dervish. So let's just continue to whittle it down. And actually, that's an LRM ammo explosion, and the dervish is gone.
Kill.
We'll take it. Absolutely.
Good to go.
So now the crossbow doesn't have direct fire on anyone. and isn't going to get it. So out of curiosity, 15.1 versus if we were to head up over this way, it would be... Okay, so we are best off to fire on the blackjack. Hit odds are not great any way we slice it. No visuals. Fair enough. Okay, so we're just going to rain a couple of missiles on that blackjack. It's not going to do much, to be honest, but that's fine. The hoplite at this point is going to fire on the wyvern. There's no real other option. And that's another solid hit there with the howitzer. I like it. Next up is our Shadowhawk. There are only 2 enemies remaining, and we can position here and get a lot of internal damage there. And there we go. That blackjack is just gone. So once we finally started eliminating some of them, it did indeed get a lot better. What side do we want to hit this wyvern from? The right side? So off over here? I don't know that we can really get there. We can get rear arc on it, and that might like increase its panic levels or something.
Watch your positioning better. I'll break.
There we go. Yeah, it's now unsettled. But this is the only remaining enemy now. It fires on our crossbow.
Damn it.
Shoulder destruction, but that's nothing that we can't handle. Okay. Next up is our Apollo, and the Apollo is going to start closing in here. This is an excellent angle to attack this wyvern. I love this angle. Arm destruction there, taking out a bunch of lasers from the wyvern. Next up is going to be our crossbow, which can turn around and fire on the wyvern from here. We want to protect our left side, so we want to position around here. Okay. Little bit of damage there. That mostly spread out and hit the armor, but we did make it unsteady, so that's good. The hoplite, I would like to move it out over here. There is flames on the way, which is not necessarily the greatest, but we'll fire on this wyvern. Only 40% hit chance, but we'll take it. Yeah, we did not hit with the howitzer. I'm not shocked about that. However, the pilot panics and ejects. So, a milk run. Yeah, that was not a milk run, Darius. Things went sideways. No doubt about it. But that's mostly just due to awkward rolls and the fact that they spawned in a flanking position. And we were forced into limiting our number of units. All things considered, we lost very little out of that. We lost a double heatsink, and it's going to be pretty hefty to repair. I think that's pretty clear. I do think that we can consider moving to a slightly higher difficulty planet. I don't think we want to go very much higher, but I would like getting some slightly better salvage. There's a lot of mediums here, and I'd like to start moving into a few more heavies. So that'll be okay. This hoplite, at this point, did take a little bit of internal damage, but I don't think it was anything too bad. And this crossbow, of course, took a shoulder hit. We'll have to replace the head on the Black Knight, but that's nothing too major. Do we want any of these full mechs? I don't think so. I think all of those mechs are kind of not what we're looking for. Missile accuracy FCS. A double heatsink to replace the one that we lost. Ferrofibrous armor is not a bad thing to take either. Beyond that, this is kind of mediocre as far as the salvage goes. So let's just confirm that. We'll see what we get. We get an AC2. I probably shouldn't have sold that, but I did. Armor, there's that missile range, regular generic heatsink, and a generic structure. So that was, all things considered, very mediocre on the salvage. Very, very, very mediocre. It's going to be pretty hefty on the repairs, but keep in mind we did make 1.5 million out of that. So that's going to be... I'm expecting this to be, I don't know, maybe like... It's not going to be exactly correct because we're going to have to do manual repairs on a couple of mechs. But it's going to be, I'm guessing, somewhere around 300,000 overall. We'll have to replace the head on the Black Knight, and we are going to strap in a few extra bits there. We're going to replace the heatsink. We're going to have to replace the shoulder on the crossbow. I don't think there was any destruction anywhere else. We were unable to locate Capo's ejection seat. An SAR mission has been added to the command center. I think this is new. So yeah, 300,000 and 50 days. So we would have to run that SAR mission to rescue Capo. That's interesting. I've not run into that in RogueTech before. That's very interesting. We need to cancel the repair on the Black Knight. We need to also cancel the repair on the crossbow. These others should all be completely fine, I think. We need to go into the mech bay here, and we need to manually repair the crossbow. So we need to refit this, and we need to hit the repair all button. That'll repair this shoulder. Then we need to max out this armor. There we go. And then we just validate that and confirm. So the crossbow should be good to go now. Then is going to be the Black Knight. Now this is going to be more extensive. So that's going to require a double heatsink here, which we did salvage an extra double heatsink, but we did have a couple already. And then we need to max out this armor like that. But I do want to take a look at what we can put into this cockpit, because we could put in some extra things here. Energy accuracy FCS, that seems great. An SLDF sensor, that seems like a solid upgrade. We only have a basic cockpit on hand right now. Unfortunately, we do not have the capacity to put like a clan cockpit in there. That would be great if we did. But this will have to do. We were not able to fill out that extra 1/8 of a ton, but that's okay. We'll just validate this, and we'll get that going. So that's going to take 20 days on the Black Knight. So we need to move this up. We need to put the crossbow as the next priority. But my question is, does that search and rescue mission, does that time out? Okay. So this is it here. It's an escort mission. We should expect resistance, but no one is paying us to shoot up the place. We're here for our person. A quick in and out is an option. It's only 1 skull difficulty. Interesting that we don't get salvage out of it. I would expect that we would get all salvage. But okay, I guess it's an escort mission. But that's definitely the mission that we should do next to get Capo back. So that means if we're not going to have Capo back, we should tick forward and not repair the Black Knight as priority. We should get everyone else back and get our other repairs done. So we're going to get a financial report here. Yep, that is expected. We'll get that financial report done any moment now. There we go. And the hoplite finished. The Apollo, the crossbow. Okay, we're just working on the Black Knight now. Now, Weasel Cakes and Hardcase are still injured. We could potentially bring sub-mech warriors, though. So I think we're going to do that, and next episode, we're going to go rescue Capo. It's very interesting that this happens now. That's a nice bit of flavor. I like that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.